Okay, hey everyone. So I wanted to do a swing analysis of the PGA champ back to back, Brooks Koepka, because there's a lot to learn here. There's a lot to see. So I wanted to point out a few things. Now, the first thing, you know, this guy's built. He's training like an athlete. So you'll see all the same stuff we talk about in terms of neutral lumbar spine, thoracic slightly rounded, head and neck in a good position, so the angle of the hat's in a nice spot, so his eyes are looking directly at the golf ball through the center of the eye. So very athletic, strong quads, engaged legs, good flex in the knees. So this is kind of the modern athlete swinging a golf club here. So the first thing you'll notice as he takes the club back, he likes to keep the face very kind of shut. And there's really minimal, I'd almost argue no, forearm rotation. So he's literally just taking the club straight up. Straight back. So you'll see the club get very vertical here, because there's zero forearm rotation. So very Nicklaus in terms of forearm rotation, or lack thereof. Now, what you'll notice here as he gets up to the top is because of the lack of forearm rotation, and he doesn't lose flex in this leg. I mean, a little bit, but he stays really engaged in this quad. And so like we've talked about before, the more this leg straightens, the more this hip turns. If this leg stays more flexed, then this hip can't turn, so it won't. So you have to be very, very strong here and mobile in the thoracic spine to stay this in the legs. So this is an athlete swinging. A lot of you would benefit more from more like a Sam Snead, because that creates more depth. Losing flex in that leg will allow you to create a little more turn and hit the ball a little more from the inside. But what I like about what Brooks is doing, and a lot of you know my swing, I like to swing to the left as well, is as you stay more flexed in this leg and you don't create a lot of depth because of lack of forearm rotation and a lack of pelvis rotation through the legs, the butt of the club, if I draw a straight line down here, is more toward the ball of his foot. Whereas you might see more of a Matt Kuchar, this left arm trajectory would be way down here, more one plane. So if we create more body rotation, we can create more depth. And if we do some things a little differently in the arm swing, we can create a little more depth. But there's a lot of importance to where this left arm is in relation to the shoulder plane. So in a perfect world, or a neutral world, we match the shoulder plane, and the butt of the club kind of runs right through here. But on this end of the spectrum, he's a little more upright. Left arm's a little higher than the shoulder plane. So this is going to make him a great player at hitting out of the rough and winning major championships. So this alignment is very, very important, because what this is going to turn into is, as he sort of palmar flexes the left wrist, kind of a la Lee Trevino, the shaft gets into a nice shallow spot. But look at the left arm trajectory. As he moves into P5, these arms are so out in front of him. This arm is basically parallel to the baseline. So this is definitely a way to swing more this way. So from here, okay, now we just bring this massive right arm into play, start to straighten it out. Club's coming on top of the right forearm, so that's an indicator of where he's headed. And just notice, this is something that we talk about, getting this right elbow in front of this right hip. It's very important to be able to do that. Now he does it because he just takes the arm straight up. So it's not very hard to get this back in front of this hip with where that right elbow is. If that right elbow was further back over here, it might be harder to get it back in front of this hip. So shaft lays down, palmar flexes the left wrist, right arm is starting to straighten right here. Right elbow's in front of the right hip. And you can play out of the rough hitting it like this. Bang. You can see he's swinging to the left. Club head staying outside the hands. And one thing you'll see here is someone who swings more to the left is going to have this club exit lower than this shoulder. So some good things to notice. Serious athlete.